Well, thank you and welcome to Creative Real Estate University. We have another fantastic show this evening. Tonight, we'll be talking about transaction coordinators and why we need them. And joining us tonight is Veronica Grimes. She is a certified top tier transaction coordinator. And welcome, Veronica.
Thank you, Shane. I appreciate you having me.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. And one of the things, so you're in your transaction coordinator.
Mhm.
Give us a lowdown on what a TC is and how did you come into wanting, oh, I want to be a TC. How did that come about?
Okay, so I'll give a little background about uh, how I came into TC, being a TC. So I started my real estate investment journey in 2020 during COVID. I had done a mentorship with a known real estate company or mentorship. They taught me how to wholesale. Um, I was mainly doing lead generation through direct mail. So after a while, that got expensive. And although I did close my first couple of deals on my own, I really was uncomfortable with that process, but I did it anyway because that's really all that I knew. Um, there was really no other roles being taught out there online. And so I continued with the program for about 6 to 9 months. And then I found out about Pace Morby and I joined Sub 2. So after being in Sub 2, I realized I didn't have to do everything on my own. So I continued to do lead generation, which is what I knew. And I would send my leads to closers to close for me. And so what I learned from that was, this is really a collaborative effort, this business or this industry. And so as I was still doing lead generation, in that role, I felt like I really needed a partner, one consistent partner, which I didn't have at the time. I was just sending them to different closers. So Pace introduced transaction coordination to the community, and I knew that that's something that I could jump right in on. So that's what I did. There was someone in the community teaching the course on the weekends, and so I joined the Saturday Zooms and I learned about it. However, as time went on, I mainly was doing transaction coordination for cash transactions. The creative side, there was still some holes in some of the processes, and we really didn't have anyone to go to at any given time to ask questions about certain things. So at the end of 2022, I decided to put um, transaction coordination on hold, and I went back to wholesaling, and I started back JVing with other people, another Sub 2 student. So we JV'd most of 2023 together. And when Top Tier TC came out, I jumped right back in. And so I've been doing that ever since. So right now I'm in the process of just trying to grow my transaction coordination business. So I want to go back a little bit because I know transaction coordination, a lot of times it seems like it's a new thing, but it's not really new. It's a known thing in the traditional real estate world. Real estate agents, they're very familiar with transaction coordination. So that's really where it originated from. So being in the investment world, it's a little bit different. Well, it's a lot different because we do a little bit more hands-on. We're dealing with investors that really don't have a whole lot of background or education in regards to, ethics and that kind of thing. So, but I would say I really enjoy it. It's right up my alley. And like I said before, it's a collaborative effort. And so that's really how I got started in doing transaction coordination.
Fantastic. And the little that I do know about you, Veronica, I know
Mhm.
that you are not only a people person, but you are a helper.
I'm a
And so
helper,
I can
yes.
see why that
Mhm.
TC role fits you perfectly.
Yeah, yeah, I really enjoy that. And then there are times when, because I've had a little bit of experience, or I've had some experience in doing deals myself, at times I can JV into a deal with other investors.
And Cindy and I put this show together, Creative Real Estate University,
Hmm.
was that the purpose of helping others, right?
Hmm.
And along this way, we've been trying to show people that there are so many different ways to get involved in real estate
Yeah,
besides having to be the investor and do it all,
that's
right? You
right.
don't have to. Just one little slice of the segment, whether it's raising capital, whether it's
Hmm.
lead generation, right? Finding deals, whether it's being a closer,
Hmm.
whether it's being the transaction coordinator,
Correct.
all those little pieces, you could fill one little niche and figure out the operation. You can be part of a bigger operation and get to see how all of it works, but not have to learn it all at once. So,
Yes, that's so true. And so you were asking what is transaction coordination? So I look at this, I'll take, for example, the wholesale transaction, a wholesale transaction. You have really four major roles in that transaction. So you have like the lead generation, the lead generation. So without leads, there's really no business, right? Then you
right,
have acquisitions, the person that's going to actually lock up that deal. And then you have dispositions, someone who's actually going to dispose that deal. But then there comes the person on the back end of the deal, which is the transaction coordinator that gets that handoff. Once a contract is locked up, that TC then takes that deal and monitors it, guards it, however you want to say it. But they're basically monitoring that process and facilitating all of the different parts to make sure that that deal makes it to all the way to close. So it's really just babysitting or monitoring that process, following up with the attorney, if it's an attorney, closing state, the title companies, uh, making sure that escrow is opened, um, verifying and making sure that the EMD has been received. So it's just a lot of little things like that that we monitor. It may be considered an administrative task, which is why it's recommended most often and why, busy investors, they feel the need to hire a transaction coordinator so that they don't have to worry about doing that. Because generally speaking, once that contract has been locked up, you already know how much money has already been made in that transaction. So the TC area part of it, it's not really generating a money or revenue generating activity. Although if it's not done properly, things can fall out of control and then you can still lose money. So, but we do have checks and balances in place, processes in place to make sure that deadlines have been met. And but yeah, that's pretty much what TC is.
and Cindy will attest, that's for sure.
Mhm.
When you're in a deal, you got it under contract, you finally think you're at the finish line, right?
Mhm.
There's such a battle, for the last few yards of getting that contract to close, making sure all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed.
Mhm.
Title companies can be quite interesting to work with. And you think paperwork comes back from them, it should be spotless. And we
Mhm.
find mistakes all the time.
All the time.
And
Yeah.
all the time. You got to double check all of it.
Yeah,
And
and it's funny you say that because my very first sub-2 transaction, I found two items on there that were duplicated. And it was no one else found the buyer didn't catch it, the seller didn't catch it, the agent didn't catch it. I caught it. But I come from before getting into real estate, I have a accounts payable recovery audit background.
all
So
right.
we look for overpayments, duplicate payments that our clients made to their vendors. So errors, looking for errors was my skill. So it's interesting that we find errors all the time on settlement statements.
Yeah. just before the show came on, you asked, how's your week going, Shane? I said, we've had a really good week.
Mhm.
Um, Cindy and I, through a couple of good appraisals and refinances, made six figures this week.
Okay.
So
Oh, great.
just like, huh. But, those things change, but it's a matter of getting all that paperwork right, getting it, no, not just closing. In this case, we're chasing a refi on a property because we have all these PML in a deal. We
Mm,
now got to get it refinanced, get everybody paid back out. Again, that's a paperwork chase of making sure everybody's accounted for again, all the numbers
yeah.
match, everybody
Yeah.
gets their payoff notices. It's a process. So having a Veronica on your team is
Mhm.
so very important. Otherwise, you get bogged down in this process, and we've done that before too. Is
Yeah,
now we're so focused on getting this job done, we're not looking for the next one.
that's right.
So the whole system kind of starts and stops, and there's no good flow
Hmm.
until we all go pick our lane, gotta take our piece of the pie,
Yep,
and then say, okay, Cindy's got this piece, Shane's got this piece, Veronica's got that
that's right.
piece,
Hmm.
and you want to make sure that the paperwork gets passed off from one entity to the other, and everything's accounted for.
That's right. So true.
So what are some of those secrets as a TC that you've learned and adapted to make sure that all the paperwork's done perfectly? Do you have checklists and procedures?
We do. We have a checklist for every deal type, whether it's a cash transaction, seller finance, sub to lending transactions. So there's a checklist. We also have a process and a system. I use a system that monitors the deadlines. But when a client first comes to us, they usually will enter in a lot of the more important information, a lot of the basic information that will get uploaded to my system. So, and then we just monitor that piece, verify with our clients the data, and get the contracts uploaded and what have you. But yeah, there's definitely a process or in terms of a checklist of everything and when to follow up with the closing agent. So yeah.
Awesome. Excellent. And out of the different types of closings, right? You've talked about you did a lot of cash, right?
Hmm.
Traditional, paying all cash for a house, right? Or
Hmm. Yeah.
standard loan. Um, have you done some creative financing closures as
Yes.
well, like sub two and
Yeah. So sub to seller finance, I'm doing some of those right now. I'm a JV partner in a sub to transaction that my partner and I are wrapping in
perfect?
Alabama.
Yeah.
So there's lending transactions I've done. So yeah.
See that, and I love that story because there's so many different pieces to it.
Uh-huh.
Here you are, the TC,
Yeah,
but by being TCs, by doing transaction coordination for other people, you make connections
I did. Yeah.
and people, right? And this is how this industry works. Is okay, Veronica gets to know Shane. We do work together.
Hmm.
And you also mentioned that, hey, if you ever come across the house in this market, let me know. I'm
Yeah.
buying. Well, okay, next thing you know, hey, Veronica, you want JV on this great deal I have? Boom. Now you have a deal. You didn't have to go do all the other things. You just have to be out
Yeah.
there giving value to the community.
That's so true. And at first, I was trying to dibble and dabble in doing transaction coordination and wholesaling at the same time. But I found that once I just started focusing on TC, a lot of those other opportunities come my way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what's the best way for people to schedule time with you? Someone has a project, they're not sure they need a TC. Do they just reach out to you by your? I know we've added in the chat here a link for your schedule. I will
Yeah.
repost it, copy link, paste it, and they can book a time on your calendar right through there.
That's right. Yeah.
Uh,
And if by chance they don't get that link, they can always reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram at veronicagrimes.tc. But I would like to know that you found out about me through River Life Holdings, through Shane's YouTube channel
yeah.
or his
Yeah,
live.
or mention Creative Real Estate University.
Yeah.
That works too.
Yeah.
And Veronica is part of the Creative Real Estate University Facebook group. You find her in there. So if someone's going to reach out to you for a project, what kind of stuff should they have ready in preparation for a meeting with you?
So if you already have a contract in place, definitely I really want all of the details of that of the deal. And but when they go to that link, they'll see the form that they can fill out. So all of the information that I need will be on that type form, or that is a job form.
Job form. That's
So
perfect. So
yeah.
when they set the meeting up with you, their schedule, they'll get that job form
Mm-hmm.
to fill in the details. You'll have that in front of
Yeah.
you during the meeting, and you go from there. Perfect.
That's correct. And if by chance you don't have a contract yet, but you just have some basic questions, definitely I can answer those questions. You can still just reach out to me through that link, and I can answer any questions that you have.
Perfect. Cindy, you have anything for us? I know you use TCs all the time because we use TCs all the time.
Yeah.
And Brent's been on vacation, but that's a different story. We'll get him on here. Yeah.
I don't have any questions right now. It's usually as it comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what it is.
Yeah. So we always have to check all the detailed paperwork that comes back from title. So
Yeah.
that's very, very important. So Veronica, we do appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you more often, and hopefully we'll see you in the group. We'll make this kind of a regular thing.
Okay, that sounds good.
We'll figure out what happened with our show link tonight. Get some more people in here. This will be recorded. We'll share it next week.
Okay. Well, thank you,
we have-
Shane.
Yep. Thank you, Veronica.
And thank you, Cindy.
Bye. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.